Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. So I just thought I would do this video about postpartum a little bit, what to expect, what I wish I would have known, because you can only read so much about what could happen, what does happen. If you're interested, then keep on watching. First things first with postpartum. So I can only speak from my experience. I can't speak for others' experience because everybody's bodies are different. Everybody's pregnancies are different. So I can just tell you guys about my experience a little bit. So I had a vaginal birth with a epidural. So I can just start from like right off the bat, postpartum. So if the discussion of childbirth bothers you, then you should probably click off, maybe watch a different video that I've done. I may end up having to take a break, or there may be Atreus joining us for part of this video because he's been catnapping off and on lately. So yeah, we'll see. From having a vaginal delivery, so like a lot of people, I tore in 3 places. They were not intense tears, but they were enough that I had to get stitches. And my perineum tore pretty badly. Using medical terms, one of my worst tears was right next to my urethra, which is where you pee from. So after giving birth, when you go to the bathroom the first time, so if you have an epidural, you usually get a catheter put in. So after I got my catheter taken out, went to the bathroom. The nurse kind of sits you down, is like, this is how to use the bathroom with dealing with stitches, and then after, you know, a vaginal birth. So they give you this peri bottle to spray up there when you pee, because urine burns so badly, and especially because I tore next to my urethra, it was very uncomfortable. They usually give you kind of hemorrhoid wipes is basically what they are. So they're witch hazel wipes, and then dermoplast. I will have to check. But it's to help with pain and swelling. And then they kind of give you these like big old mesh undies. I'm sure everybody's heard about those. And then a giant pad. From a lot of like hospital packing bag, like packing your bags things for pregnancy, I actually kept all that stuff at home because I knew the hospital was gonna have them, and I'm so happy that I did, because he's talking to himself in the background, because it was just better to have all that stuff ready for when I got home. In my case, I was staying somewhere in town because my baby was in the NICU, but still, you have to take care of yourself postpartum to make sure none of your stitches get infected. So with that, it would be every time you go pee, while you're peeing, you use the peri ball with warm water. Honestly though, like, unpopular opinion, I used cold water and it would just soothe a little bit more. It would kind of numb the area a little bit. And then I would have my pad ready with my hemorrhoid pads, my witch hazel pads on there. And then as soon as I would be done, most of the time I wouldn't even use toilet paper because that's what the water was for. I would just make sure everything was clean, and then do the dermoplast because that would help with the immediate pain. And then, you know, just the show on the road after going to the bathroom. So the first couple of days you do end up bleeding a little bit immediately postpartum, and it's pretty heavy for like the first week or so, like 2 weeks. It's just kind of like a little heavier period, and then it kind of slowly like tapers off. I was a lot more active in my postpartum because I was walking like around the hospital all the time, which normal circumstances that wouldn't be happening. So my heavy bleeding actually lasted a lot longer, which if you have a normal birth in normal circumstances, that's why they recommend you lay low and you get as much rest as you can. So that was one thing I wish I would have paid attention to. If you're breastfeeding, or trying to get your breast milk to come in, or your colostrum. As for pain medication, it's kind of iffy about what you can and can't take. Mine, I could take Tylenol, but I couldn't take ibuprofen. So I could take that every couple of hours. Next one is kind of a TMI. You know what? No, this is not a TMI because this shit happens. So, your first poop postpartum is literally the most terrifying thing in the world. Like, I don't care what you say. I was so freaking scared, especially after tearing, because I was afraid I was gonna freaking open my stitches. Like, and I was constipated, which is common when you're going through the labor process. And they give you Colace, which, if you don't know, is a stool softener after you have your baby. It would not help me. So I was like 3 days after having him, still hadn't happened. So they had to give me, I think it's called milk and magnesia or something like that. Really, you know, like, it gets it going. And I will say I almost cried when I had my first poop postpartum, because nobody really talks about that. They're just like, it's scary. So I will recommend that if Colace does not work for you, ask them for a different stool softener, because you need to poop. You can't be backed up. And yeah, that was my take on that and my experience. On to stretch marks. So stretch marks, not everybody gets them. It's entirely genetic, and it's something that I tried to prevent my entire pregnancy. I bought a whole bunch of different cocoa butters and lotions and oils, and I put them on every night. I put them on my boobs, I put them on my belly and my hips. Yeah, that, looking back at it now, keeping your skin moisturized, great. Buying stuff that says it prevents stretch marks is a bunch of BS, because nothing can prevent stretch marks. And I had a couple, like, when I was pregnant, like towards the end of my 3rd trimester, I had a couple, but as soon as he was out, within 24 hours, I currently have stretch marks all around my belly button. I'm not gonna show them right now. And then all of my lower abdomen, like, they're everywhere. They're on my boobs, they're on my hips, they're on my legs. Weirdly, I have some in here, but it's wherever you gained weight. And I hate that everybody's like, oh, prevent them, like all these companies, and you can't. It's your genetics, it's your skin. You grew a freaking human in your stomach, okay? Like, your body changed and adapted for that human. And as a society, like, stretch marks are deemed like an imperfection. And this is still something I'm struggling with, because, like, I'm 21 and now I had 1 baby and I'm covered in stretch marks, but my body created life, and there just needs to not be as negative of a stigma around it, I believe. It's something I deal with every day, and they won't ever go away. They'll fade, like, they'll turn lighter, but they'll always be there. But it's something as a society, like, you just need to know that if they happen, like, if you get stretch marks, you are still beautiful, you are powerful, and it doesn't make you any lesser of a person. Someone that really inspires me is the Birds Papaya on Instagram. She's very body positive and is a mom, and she's just like, these are your perfect imperfections. Like, you shouldn't be ashamed of these. Like, these should empower you. And I really love her message, so I definitely recommend following her on Instagram. I'll have her link in the bio. Breast milk and breastfeeding. So, it is extremely discouraging when you're waiting for your milk to come in. So your colostrum comes in first, and then typically 3 or 4 days after, well, it's kind of like between 3 to 5 days, your actual breast milk comes in. My colostrum came in about, like, really heavy about 10 hours, 12 hours after giving birth. Like, I filled up an entire, like, 2-ounce bottle, like, just of my colostrum, and I was pumping because he was in the NICU, so I had to make sure he got all my colostrum. And then it slowly started to taper off within 2 more days. Like, I was I was crying. I was only producing like not even like 2 ounces. It was literally like a drop. Like it looked like a tear. That's how much colostrum I had produced. So it was like a lot, a little bit, nothing, and then my milk finally came in. So I was completely engorged. It looked like I had a boob job. I was like, whoa, and my chest hurt so bad. And I finally pumped that milk out, and then I actually had oversupply. So I was producing 7 ounces, like between both, 7 to 8 ounces every 2.5 to 3 hours. So my milk supply was like crazy. And if that does happen to you, my lactation consultant talked to me about it. After getting home with your baby, your supply adjusts to what it needs to be for your baby. So that won't last forever. If you don't breastfeed, I haven't gotten to the milk drying up phase yet, but I know that you just kind of slowly taper off feedings as that goes by. So that's breast milk postpartum. And then as for postpartum depression, so this one hit me really hard. I didn't end up getting baby blues. I currently have postpartum anxiety, not to the point that I need to be on antidepressants, but I'm just kind of taking it day by day. Because of my situation being a little bit different, my postpartum depression hit me like a truck. So once we were moved into the postpartum rooms, I just felt vacant. Like my baby wasn't in my body anymore, and my hormones dropped so significantly low. I would just sob, like uncontrollably sob, like to the point like my eyes were like swollen and shut. And I didn't know it would be that bad. It just felt like your heart was just broken. And I know that even people that don't have babies that go to the NICU, like you can feel like that. Just know that you're completely valid for feeling the way that you do. It is okay to cry. It is okay to be discouraged. And when I finally got home, I felt like that would be completely resolved, but I would just be overly exhausted and I would just cry. Like I'd wake up to feed him in the middle of the night, like every 1 hour, every 2 hours, and I would just cry. I would get severe headaches with my postpartum preeclampsia, and so I would still have to feed him and I would just sob. And if you feel helpless, you need to get help. That is the big thing with postpartum depression. I'm thankfully kind of on the up end of it now, so I can kind of look back at it. It didn't feel like I had postpartum depression in the moment, but I definitely did. I felt hopeless. I felt like a bad mom, even though I wasn't. It was just hormones, and that is a very legitimate thing that happens. And sometimes for people it's way worse. So thankfully I was able to get out of that. And yeah, so those were my tips with postpartum. Yeah, I hope you guys liked the video. I hope you guys are having a really good week. Christmas is coming soon. I'm trying to do Vlogmas as much as I can. I just have a very, honestly, my day-to-day life is kind of boring, so it's kind of hard to vlog it, but I really want to. And yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Bye.